All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Hibike Euphonium, Season 2, Episode 10.
Okay, so, yeah, we had the meeting with Asuka, and it's great, and it's still technically going, and we got backstory and stuff. Turns out her dad was not just a youth player, but, like, a big youth player, big time.
Huge youth player.
And if they actually manage to, play it, well, when they play at Nationals, because they're going to Nationals and everything.
Well, yeah, they will, but it's whether Asuka will.
Whether Asuka will. If she does, her dad will hear her play.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. And also see her.
Yeah, that too. No big deal.
In person.
No big deal
Probably.
at all.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely explains a bit why the mother's so resistant. Yeah.
And Kumiko's doing what she can, but in a lot of ways, Asuka's really smart. She knows what's kind of going on. And in a lot of ways, then we can kind of posit a couple things as to why she specifically invited Kumiko over at this time.
And why they're, playing into, past sunset and all that, because, mom's going to be back late. So.
Yep. So this episode, some big decisions could be made by adults and by some of the kids. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. I think, I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a friend of mine who had that transition from when he, was reading the notes of music, in his notebook and everything, to then he could just do it all by ear.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, this big thing where he would, keep the book around, and it had all highlighted orange, green, and purple, yellow stuff all over it, and then actual stuff written. But it was a thing where it would just be there, and he wouldn't open it anymore. And I remember just opening it and being like, "Hey, do you use this still?" He's like, "Well, not really. I don't really need it as much anymore, but I spent a lot of time with this thing, so I just kind of hold on to it." I'm like, "Oh, that's
it's that
sweet.
sort of memory of, how far you've come.
Right. Because, you have, the few songs that you've mastered, right, in your specific instrument, right?
She can still hear it.
それで欲が出た。全国に行けば演奏を聴いてもらえる。アスカ先輩の UFO の音が頭にこびりついて離れない。
Yeah, why would you want that out of
高
your
い
head?
息苦しい感情が溶け込んでるあの音。
Oh, it's painful. Gotcha. Yeah.
どうでした？
Yep, and everyone's like, give us the deets.
Yeah.
はい。元気そうは元気そうでしたけど、先輩はちゃんと勉強と部活両立しているのに、それを邪魔するなんて緑は嫌です。どうどう？
このまま部活をやめて勉強に専念する方がためになるって考え方もあるけどな。
どうしたの？ちょっと教えてほしい。香織先輩だ。ちょっとお
Oh,
話ししてくれ。
okay. Yeah.
香織先輩。おはよう。
I want to collab. Oh my god.
香
Wow.
織先輩に話があるの。
You could just been like, I was talking to her.
You with your luscious, delightfully beautiful brown hair. Brown hair. She's like, what?
アスカ派は違うな。もしかして
Except she's not.
怒ってるの。
Oh.
がっかりかな。アスカは特別な
Feeling
んかじゃなかった
abandoned?
自分で何とかしちゃうんじゃないかって。
Mm-hmm.
勝手な言い分だっていうのは分かってる。でもアスカなら先帰っちゃったんでしょうか。
Possibly.
考えることがいっぱいありすぎて。
Oh, she found out about...
Yeah. That he was married.
She
Weird.
maybe feels betrayed because...
Ah!
何してんの？
Soup.
どうやったら味噌汁作るのに。
Well, get some lime juice and clean that out.
別にいいでしょ。
I was trying to make it up to them.
仲直りしたの？こ
No.
れからするつもりな。
Yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna help you. It's
Roll
too
up those
pathetic.
sleeves.
できるの？お姉ちゃんよりは？
She doesn't even really know that.
私ね、ずっと自分で決めることを避けてきたの。文句言いながらずっとお母さんたちの言う通りにしてきた。
And so you inspired me to start doing what I
Wanted to
want
do?
to do now, yeah.
が大人だって。
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not it.
That is not it at all.
あんたのことすごくムカついてた。
Oh.
You saw it as her not growing up, but really,
God, the animation, just those little bits with the hands and the food. Oh my God.
父さんも母さんもあんたのわがまま聞いて自慢の娘だったってのは認める。
oh man, I can feel that under my fingernails.
Cool.
高校生なのに
Scrub the shit out of this thing.
大人のふりして世の
Get
中
the
なんて
steel
こんな
wool.
もんだって全部飲み込んで我慢して後悔も失敗も全部自分で受け止めるから自分の道を行きたい。寂しい？別に。
Yeah.
あんたの演奏聞いたよ。すごく上手だった。あ、うん、全国聞きに行くから頑張ってね。え？お姉ちゃん。
Oh! And then, yeah.
わあ、
Cooking,
じゃあ母さん
cooking.
帰ってきたら呼んで。
I'd have been like, nah, get your ass out here. I'm putting you to work. Like,
お姉ちゃんは？今朝向こうに戻った。
oh.
そっか。
Okay. Gotcha.
もう一回だけ。しょうがない。
Oh. She is gonna miss her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
お姉ちゃんと一緒に吹きたい。
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no one can tell you were crying.
It's all good.
Someone comes right around the corner. Were you crying?
この状況で私吹きたいですなんて堂々と言うと思う。
Come on, stop hiding behind that, Asuka.
でも私もう踏ん切りはついてるから本当にそれでいいのね。本当に
You go, Prez.
最初からそう言ってるじゃん。
Not actually saying
Nice,
yes.
but you see but you see the comparison with the sister. It's like that's that it's what I said, right?
期待に決まってるのに。
I like this. I like this music. This is
Why did you
This is
lie
making me
about
hopeful.
saying you wouldn't miss her?
自
yeah.
分の道を行きたい。そう素直に言えばよかった。アスカー。どうしても話しておきたいことがあって。
I have to talk about.
ついに愛の告白
My love for your playing.
だけで二人きりの間に。
違います。
I'm
Yes, this is serious.
コンクールに出てください。
Command.
Yeah.
条件はそれだけ？
はい。
なら答えはノー。それが自分の時は例外ですなんて言えると思う？
でもみんな言ってます。アスカ先輩がいいって。
みんな？みんなって誰？
それは。
Yeah.
大体そのみんなが本心を言ってる保証がどこにあるの？いやみんなそう言うよ。だってそう
No,
言
I
っと
don't
けば
need to see
誰も
it.
傷つけ
I
ない。
don't need to see it. Please don't just have it walk into frame. Please.
だ
Don't.
からって
I'm good.
全員がそう思ってるとは限らないじゃないですか。
お前ちゃんがそんなこと言うなんてね。
Can't deflect with comedy forever.
みぞれちゃんとのぞみちゃんの時も大前ちゃん結局最後は見守るだけだった
Careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
に傷つくのも傷つけるのも怖いからなあなあにして安全な場所から見守る。そんな人間に相手が本音を見せてくれてると思う？
Wow.
もう電池切れ？私がこのままフェードアウトするのがベストなの。
アスカ先輩が吹くことがさ。
Wow.
まああんたもさ、後悔の
Wow.
しなさいよ。
Yeah. Get angry. Get aggressive.
でもそんなのはどうでもいいです。
Yeah.
What is it that you want?
本番に出たい。
No, no. What I want. Yeah.
全部わかってるみたいに振る舞
Oh shit. Let's go.
Nice. Yeah. Lay into her.
ってただの高校生なのに。こんなののどこがベストなんですか。
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can measure that.
Uh-huh.
どうしてなかった
You have to say no to
ことにしちゃうんです
that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try and rationalize it.
Yeah.
見れば丸く収まるなんてそんなのただの自己満足です。
And plain kiddish.
待ってって言ってるの
Oh.
Oh.
諦めるのは最後までいっぱい頑張ってからにしてください。私はアスカ先輩に本番
Oh.
オー
Oh.
ルで先輩と一緒に
Ah, yeah.
UFO が聞きたいんです。
So I'm making choices that I know I won't regret. Like,
Damn.
yeah, way to go.
Major props to Kumiko's voice actor.
Yeah,
Actress.
先輩、
何？
顔見てもいいですか？
ダメ。見たら夏代まで呪われるよ。
Yep. The blinking. You can see
Yeah.
the eyelashes.
池田先生呼んでる。この前の模試のことで話があるって。
Hmm.
ごめん、ちょっと行くね。
What? Dang, it's been days and days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
何？
Eh.
いやお母さんがお菓子もらったからお前ん家に届けてきた。
God, she's so dismissive of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's emotionally spent right now, so
Right.
makes sense.
Yep.
She's like, I'm done for the day. I'm going home and taking a nap.
Right. Oh, what?
Well,
What?
I know,
What? Come on!
I know. It's so beautiful.
マジ？
What? What?
じゃあ頑張ってね。
Oh, she's coming back!
Yeah.
He's coming back!
Oh.
アスカ先輩も意地悪だな。
That's
Wow.
mean. That's
Wow.
mean.
ごめん、遅れた。
田中先輩。アスカ先輩。模試で全国30位以内だったらしくてね。それを盾に母親と話したみたい。どうしても出たいって。
Wow.
Wow. Holy crap.
That is insane.
おかえりなさい。
Oh.
Hey.
そして次の曲が始まるので
Yeah.
す。
Two youths. Okay.
Mm-hmm. 2
Okay.
years. But now it's the thing of that was a look of the,
I'm dead inside.
yeah, why didn't you tell me?
Well,
You knew, didn't
well,
you?
okay. That is an assumption, though.
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, it is something that is a relatively easy assumption to make. So I could see her very much being upset with Kumiko for not saying anything, yeah.
Right. Although I feel like, as far as conflicts we've had so far in the series, that will be a pretty easy one to resolve.
Well, okay, it does segue a little bit nicely from the idea that Asuka did say that whole thing about, with that aspect of your personality, why would anyone share their true feelings with you? And then Reina, kind of being a little bit communicationally and emotionally distant, Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well.
She's back.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Back.
That-
And I am shocked. I am really shocked that this was the
damn.
turn of events here.
Yeah.
Did not see this coming at all.
I gotta say,
I
the
thought it
fact-
might have been something that, Kumiko convinced her and it just took a while for it to hit. But okay. No.
She had already been laying the groundwork.
She had been laying the groundwork, yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta say the fact that we got what I would call the equivalent of big
confrontation.
heart punches, basically.
Yeah.
And we got 2 of them in the one episode.
Yeah, really
that was awesome.
big ones.
That was awesome because I'd be
bam,
fine. I'd be
bam.
fine with just one. I would still call that a fantastic episode, right?
Right, because they felt like they were kind of going in parallel. We had a person who was struggling to be an adult when they weren't even necessarily fully transitioned, if you will, into adulthood. One
Right.
was still living at home, and the other one is a high school student. And they're both trying to make decisions that they won't regret, and the people around them don't understand the decisions that they're making. It's
Trying
like,
to be
where's
their
this
own
coming
person.
from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutting
yeah.
the umbilical cord, being separate, and being independent, right?
Yeah.
And in a funny way, I was kind of metagaming this in that I figured we were going to get another couple episodes before we saw the resolution because
Oh, sure.
Well, it would be at the end of the season, right? It'd sync it up with nationals and everything, right?
We have to have actually
not quite the
nationals
end of
be
the season,
put on display, man.
Totally,
Which
yeah.
means, other teams have to play,
and they might
our
go
team
into
has to play.
Right, and they can go into a lot more detail with it, probably because it's nationals, so it might be more than just the one episode,
Yeah.
But the stuff with Reina is kind of a wonderful little not red herring, but it's like an additional bit of conflict that means that then there's things that can occupy the time of the season before we get to nationals.
True.
In addition to this other stuff, so this other stuff can be resolved a lot sooner, which means then you don't see the punches coming, right? Like because we got the stuff last episode and that was great, right?
Yeah.
We got full perspective on Asuka's situation and then also some additional emotional growth and progression for Kumiko and her sister's relationship. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
But I did not expect it to actually be wrapped up right here. Like,
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Same. I do like, though, that it was resolved here because I feel like there were a couple, not really moments, but there were a couple things that I thought they were taking things, and then they just kind of skipped past that time.
oh, sure, like the dinner at the
Yeah, the
Kumiko's
dinner
house.
at Kumiko's place, because it wasn't made by, I guess, the sister. But also the fact that they stayed out really late playing Euphonium, and I thought they were going to go back to
back
Asuka's
home and
place.
then, but no, it's just it really was something where Asuka did not want her to run into her mom, so
Right, and
she made sure that happened because yes, Asuka is very proud, so
Yeah,
there you go.
And in terms of how they set up this reveal with regards to Asuka, she was basically just burning the candlelight trying to get her studying done.
Yep.
So in a 2-for-1 package here, by stepping out of the wind ensemble in a lot of ways, she gave herself more time
To study. Yeah.
which then showed what she was capable of if she
Right.
like put the rubber to the road and put her money where
pedal to the metal,
money where her mouth is, basically, and prove to her mother that she's capable of incredible things, that she's
Right.
special, if you will. And while this is all something that happens on the sidelines, like, we don't get to see this. Like, we don't really translate this all perfectly as what's going on, because we're kind of seeing it more from the emotional angle of all of the students that are
Right.
in the wind ensemble.
Yep.
And we're like, is she being selfish here? Is this something where she's shooting herself in the foot? Is this something where we're seeing a new side of her and she's not fighting back? We don't understand fully.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm a little bit torn on is that with the way this resolved, it was something where Asuka, because since this is basically about becoming an adult, right? That was the situation with Kumiko's sister, and that's the situation with Asuka, right? She's a high schooler, she's third year, she is about to be an adult, like by all societal standards and all that stuff, right? But there's this whole thing with her mother, right?
Yeah.
Where her mother is kind of like, saying no,
Clinging on for the last
last bit of
little
control,
bit that she
right?
has, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, in this resolution, Asuka basically was able to prove to her mother, this is what I'm capable of. I know what I'm capable of,
Right.
which is also the mark of maturity in a true adult, right?
Yep.
They know their own limitations and things like that and
Yep.
can make decisions for themselves.
For sure.
But it was also something where she basically said, I am going to only conditionally do the thing that I really want to do.
Right.
Because, and that might be because her mother actually, once she had been removed from the wind ensemble, once the mother had been able to go around Taki to the other teacher and actually gotten Asuka to be removed, maybe it's something where she actually needs her mother's permission to like actually get back in,
Right.
But the result of it is that it's still something where she did not have to truly put her foot down over, and basically say, I'm going to be doing what I want, Mom, not what you want. This is my life, So she still definitely would have had a confrontation about that because, hey,
Right.
I did top 30 in the national mock exam or whatever,
Yeah.
which is crazy. That's awesome. But that's something that Asuka didn't have to do. She was able to be special rather than actually, the realization of, I may look special, I may put up that great front of being special, but when it comes right down to it, I am just a regular person. Don't look at my face right now, Kumiko, because you don't want to see this side.
Yeah, exactly. That was the moment where Asuka's incredible impregnable defenses actually broke, and she had her knees quivering. She was getting emotional.
We saw the side view with the eyelashes. Like, I love that as an animation decision. Just, showing that she's blinking away the tears, even though we don't actually see the tears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are something that you're not supposed to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Even I don't want to see those.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
That was really cool to kind of restrict the viewer on what we are able to see based on the fact that Kumiko's being restricted in that regard.
Which
and it's
highlights
painful.
it even more.
Yeah,
it's great.
and it's painful because that's what Kumiko's frustration is.
Yes.
Is that
stubbornness.
That stubbornness, but also the unwillingness to be vulnerable and showcase actually your normalcy.
Right. And oftentimes I feel like, especially in like the kind of sports anime and things like that, there can be that tendency of like, no, I'm just going to do it. And that sort of like grit and inner will and determination, and that's great and all. But
Yeah.
It is also a sign of strength to recognize and admit weakness,
Yeah, I think that this is also a cultural thing a little bit as well.
I think so, yeah.
In Japan, that's very much something that's like, there's a lot of respect given to that.
Yes.
And this is something I kind of learned recently with Run with the Wind,
Oh,
that
Yep.
there is something that is almost like
mythic, idyllic.
or not deified, but what's like a shorter, like a lesser version of deified, in the idea of never give up in the face of adversity,
Right.
and push through it all even if it breaks you,
claw your way if
and
you
it's
have
like
to,
I there is something romantic and attractive and wonderful about it, but
it's romantic, but it doesn't apply to our own lives.
It's not
as
really
much.
that realistic,
right? Because there are times where we have our limits.
We're not special,
and if anything,
like
the believing that you have no limits is one of the biggest signs of childlike immaturity
and pride,
right? and pride and all of that. Which again, Asuka's totally proud, so it fits for her character, right?
It is her flaw,
right? It is her flaw, and so the fact that she basically grips her flaw by the horns and says, "I'm going to do it anyways." That. If there were to be any character in this show that I would want to do something like that, I would want it to be Asuka, because then it feels like it really fits and is not just some like general concept that's thrown into a character that I wouldn't expect it from,
Yeah. One of the things that's really tricky with this, and this is part of the thing of where I love a good plot twist, personally, and I think I was biased to specifically having this be one of the painful consequences of a choice made by a high schooler that they would end up regretting a little bit, but they would have to own that choice. And because this is a story where they're all going to nationals, they're going to do the impossible.
That's what the story's about. We got the bad example with Kumiko's sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we don't need it here. There's nothing that says we need it.
Right.
But I would have liked a little bit more foreshadowing from the meta angle, because if my friend did this to me, basically, and I was Kumiko, I would have a very rough time trusting them.
Yes.
After this incident.
Yes.
I'd be very happy for them to come back.
Yep. Way to go. You did it.
But one of the things that's rather tricky about this, to understand it from Asuka's perspective, is that she can't get their hopes up. She really can't, because that's not fair to them.
And
that's where she's right in the I'm not going to cause a lot of trouble. But what might have been even better, is to restrict all contact and basically say, you guys are a distraction for me right now because I care so much about you. Yeah. And I do not want to have that distraction as I push for my studies right now.
Right. It's one of those things where, because I get the logic of why Asuka did what she did, but at the same time, it's one of those things where how much of it is something that could have been resolved with some good communication. Yeah. Because if she had done the thing of, hey, this is the situation. I think I can get my mom to let me do this if I get into the top 30. but you guys need to go as if I'm not going to be in here.
Yeah,
you know?
but she didn't have that plan. Mom blindsided her. That's
Yes.
where I don't think that the plan was something that was in place from the beginning. I don't think that Asuka immediately thought up I have to get the top 30 in order to do that. I think that for the majority, or even just at least the beginning, she's was like, scrambling to think up a way that she could have both.
Right.
Because she's like, I'm Asuka, damn it. I can do
That's
this.
what I've been doing so far.
That's what I've been doing all my life thus far.
My mom has no legitimate reason to actually like step in and do this because I have been doing both so far. You know,
so
like,
what's the best way for me to fight back? Now, in that time, she does end up hurting a lot of the wind ensemble because she's not being communicative.
Right.
But there was a point where she came up with the plan, and it was before she walked into the wind ensemble and said hello.
Which, if anything, makes the way she bit back at Kumiko very interesting.
Very interesting.
Because she already had the plan.
Yep, that was why she had the call in from the person.
Because that would have been her test results.
Getting the results,
yeah. So it's one of those things where because again, with the whole thing of even if she had come up with the plan quickly and then communicated to the wind ensemble and things like that, what it really probably would have done, what I could have seen it doing, is that it would have made it so that it wouldn't have caused any drama immediately then.
Yeah.
But if it got to the point where she didn't actually make it in the top 30, then even if they had been practicing plenty up till then, emotionally that would have thrown them out of whack. So by having it be early on, that's something where then they're able to, as best they can, you know, wrestle with it, come to terms with it, get to the point where they can function as a unit again, and then hopefully they'll still be able to do pretty well at nationals.
So here's where the pride thing comes into play here, and I think this is something where her flaw kind of covers for all the problems I have with it story-wise, is that she doesn't want to cause trouble, right? But because she's maybe a little bit cold of a person, like just in general, she doesn't think about the emotional consequences of this. Now, if everyone has the opportunity to accept that this is something where if I don't do this, I am never coming back and it's going to suck, but I need you all to grieve now rather than get your hopes up and have them dashed, the leaders in the wind ensemble can help
work with that.
Can help also echo that message.
Sure.
There are going to be people in the wind ensemble that will still be emotionally affected because of this.
Yeah.
But by doing it this way, and you fail your test results, you can't just go and tell everyone then and expect things to be better.
Nope.
If anything, they're going to feel really bad at that point. You basically went into either I get a win-win or a lose-lose situation. That's great because you have an opportunity for a win-win.
Which is what Asuka
But you could have had it be a win-win or a win-lose situation.
Yeah, and I think
that's where I think the pride comes into play here. She didn't want to do something to tarnish her image, but also maybe she thinks of herself a little bit special that it would just destroy the wind ensemble if she told them that this was going to be the thing, and yet
or the whole thing of
Asuka, you have some growing up to do,
or not realizing how much of an effect she has on them, or even better with the whole thing of I won't cause you any trouble. The whole thing of again the cultural thing of I won't rock the boat. I won't bring down the group kind of a thing. Yeah. And then because of her pride, she gets real cold and real snappy whenever anyone implies that she is.
Right.
And the way that they imply that she is by saying that they care about the fact that she's left.
Yep.
Right? When they're expressing their own vulnerabilities and feelings and emotions, that's when she basically kind of takes it as an insult. Which is like, oh, damn.
Shit.
Oh, damn. Now, we got a pretty good resolution, you know?
We got to have our cake and eat it. We got our win-win here.
But
personally, I wouldn't be friends with Asuka after this, really. Like, unless I was
I
one
would
of
have
her
a
old
stern
friends,
talking to with
unless I
them.
was her old friends, you know, like the third years and stuff, I'd
Right.
absolutely still be friends with her.
Where it's like, you know, this
Oh,
is
because
how
this
she
is
works.
this
you
is
know?
how she works, right?
Yeah, right. And you almost like the entertainment aspect of
Right,
it,
right. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of the point of Asuka. She's not here to make friends. Like,
Right,
that's
yes,
one of the things
yes.
that I really like about characters that
She's
are
upfront
brutally
about it.
honest.
Well, actually, no, she's not.
No, that's the thing.
she really isn't.
That's the thing, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about brutally honest people, is that they'll just tell you, like, I'm not here to be your friend.
Right. Kumiko, when she does her, when, you know, Shuichi or whatever his, you know, name is, walks by, he knows the situation. Right?
She doesn't like spending time with him.
She doesn't like
that
spending
much.
time with him.
Yeah.
And Reina, she specifically brings that up, that was one
Yeah.
of the things she likes about Kumiko. And in fact, that's probably the reason why she's really upset with you, Kumiko.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you didn't do the impolite thing. You didn't do the blunt thing. You didn't actually
Yeah.
tell her that Taki Sensei was married and his wife's dead, you know, like.
Oof. Yeah.
But yeah, if I was Kumiko, well, the fact that my words reached Asuka, I would be very,
Very happy.
very happy about that, because I would know that that's something that she really doesn't show to anyone, right? In the same way that she's like, no, you don't get to see me cry. You know that I am crying, right? And that's basically what it is, right? Yeah. I'm telling you that there's a sight that you wouldn't want to see up here.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let you see it. There is a kind of trust in that, right? In that, okay, all right.
You know now.
You know now. You know, your
But I
words
don't.
reached me. But at the same time,
But
when I came in because I cared for you, and you know, when Kumiko started talking to her and stuff, she bit back hard.
yeah.
Like, and that's something that goes to show, Asuka, that you are not actually okay with what's going on. That if you had not placed in the top 30, right? Well, I certainly hope you would have still fought tooth and nail to be at nationals and said, like, okay, I only got 38th, but that's still really fucking good for nationals, you know, like for the national level of the exam, right? I should still be able to go to wind ensemble. What would have happened to you if you hadn't? Because you got good ammunition, you got a good excuse, a tool that your mother couldn't argue with,
Yeah.
so that you could speak her language and
Right.
convince her, right? But what if that hadn't happened? The fact that she bit back at Kumiko like this makes me think that she was going to resign herself to her fate, basically, like Kumiko's sister did, if she didn't get in the top 30.
Yeah, we can never know, though.
We can never know, but the fact that she was this frustrated by Kumiko's confrontation, I think that it means that she would have.
Yeah, this is the aspect, though, that I feel like is something that, to a child like Kumiko, because this is the area where I would say that Asuka is actually a little bit more mature, if you take out the context of why they're having this conversation and actually just look at the hard logic of what Asuka is saying regarding, though, even though you take interest and get closer to people, you're scared of hurting them and being hurt, and so you end up watching them from a safe distance. Do you really think anyone would show their true feelings to someone like that? What's true about this? What's true about this is that when it comes to honest communication, you do not judge the entire thing based around whether or not something is going to hurt someone or not.
Okay.
The sharing of open, honest communication when it comes to people that you're really close with is like mandatory. It's so important that you do not lie to someone or you do not hold back with someone that you're really close to.
Right.
Note
How
how
can
I
you-
keep pressing on the idea that you're really close to.
Yeah, how can you expect someone else to be vulnerable with you if you won't take the first step?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But here's where things get dicey, is that Asuka and Kumiko aren't necessarily that close until as of actually yesterday.
Right.
Or the other day, basically. So the part that's tricky about this, Asuka, is that in a lot of ways you were actually really vulnerable with Kumiko recently.
Yes.
The other
Yes.
day. And you tried to kind of, I would say, kind of help things out a little bit. And
Right.
it does feel like you're trying to be the good, helpful senpai here.
Right. I'm going to sort of tell you what the situation is and why this is, not only necessarily so that you can try and help me and convince me,
Because you're the other youth player here.
Right,
I don't want this
exactly.
burden to go to you.
Right,
as
so
well.
I'm going to give you as much ammunition as I feel comfortable with, which
Exactly.
granted, you know, isn't...
It's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, but, you know, there are some things I'm still definitely going to
Oh, of course,
keep back,
yeah.
So that way, hopefully, you can do this and have as good an experience in Nationals without me as possible.
Right. And what this says to me in this instance, that Asuka is kind of prepping her, probing her, or kind of poking her to be like, you haven't been fully honest yet. I want to hear, I want to feel I want to experience what you're going to bring up next, which she then does.
Don't just say, come to Nationals, you know, like, sweet
Because what everyone else says.
Right, that's what everyone else says. You're not just everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. What do you
right,
want?
It's there was a point where I was interacting with my aunt, and I had like a brain fart or whatever, and I called her just by her first name rather than like aunt, you know, first name, right?
Yeah.
And she just looked at me like, you take that back. Like you're on thin ice. You've got about 5 seconds, you know, to like.
It's like, who'd you just call old lady?
Right, exactly. Yeah, like that kind of a thing, right? I think it actually might have been worse. No, it wasn't her first name. I said Mrs. last name. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. But so, and I feel like that's kind of where Asuka's coming from here, right? Of, you know, to put it in the best light for her. If she's like, I just poured my heart out to you like the other day. What the fuck is this?
What,
you know,
what
like
is this?
Like,
yeah. So to bring things into a personal story here, I was up until rather recently spending a lot of time with a friend group, just online and stuff like that. And I was starting to be able to tell that there was a couple people, and more than a couple people, that were starting to kind of passive aggressively like want to push me out of the group, basically. For the activities and the stuff that we were doing. And I was already like kind of not really enjoying myself with it anymore. So I just decided, hey, I'm not going to be showing up to these really anymore. And they're like, oh, okay, gotcha. And someone came up to me recently at Frisbee, and they were like, so, like, are you really not coming back to that? We all miss you. And I just, that line triggered me so much. Because, and I kind of resonate a little bit with Asuka's kind of thing here of, how do you know the thoughts of all these people here? You didn't actually talk with all of them.
Sure.
And also
a bunch of them could be pissed at me and crazy jealous or whatever.
Right. And while I love the scene where Kumiko is thinking about all those parts where people are mentioning how much they really do want Asuka back, it doesn't matter in the sense
I want
there,
you back.
Because it's the personal thing of I want you back. And it was a thing where in the moment, I really thought that exact same line of thinking of, he's probably right in that a lot of people want me to go back to this group.
Yeah.
Not everyone, of course.
Right.
But what he's actually trying to say in a non-vulnerable way is, I want you back.
Yeah.
And it's that most people don't actually feel comfortable enough to say, I want blank.
Yeah.
I need you to blank.
And don't give me that safety net crap, you know?
Right,
like,
exactly. And that's something that
Trust me a little.
Right, that's something that Kumiko has rarely done in the show, is say what she wants. She kind of does play it safe. She ends up eavesdropping on a lot of conversations and then kind of ends up just kind of getting roped into their drama. And she does help solve things.
Yeah.
But it's not based out of maybe personal desire as much as it is kind of like I don't want other people to be hurt and I don't want to hurt them. And
yeah,
it is kind of childish.
I don't know anything about music, but I wonder if that was part of what Asuka said when she said, you're just like a youth.
Whoa.
Because I don't know anything about a euphonium, really. Like, I don't know.
No, we know a couple things based on the story here.
Yeah,
they're
like
rarely,
very little bit.
They're rarely, like front and center.
Right, they're not sought after instruments
No,
generally.
they're kind of the one-off or two-off instruments.
Yeah, the supporting, ones. There aren't five
exactly.
youths like there are trumpets or whatever, right?
Yeah.
While there are solos that
They are a bass instrument. So bass instruments are always like background.
Yeah,
kind of
background
stuff.
supporting. Yeah.
I mean, well, okay. I actually don't know anything about music, so I shouldn't use the word always. But
right, I'm
stuff,
pretty sure
I believe, is primarily
the
background
word
stuff.
is talking about the bass. The thing on the bottom, the strong thing that everything else is built on top of. So.
Is that what that word is based around? I don't know if that is, but based around.
Or okay, no. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's BASS. Well, the point is, the bass is the one on the bottom, I'm pretty sure, and then the treble's on top. Anyway,
I got you. But what you're getting at, I think, makes a lot of sense here because Kumiko is a character that tries to be as inoffensive as possible.
Right.
And thus, she doesn't give a lot of herself sometimes.
And it would kind of make sense that Asuka would feel a bit insulted by that of like, you realize who you're talking to, right?
Yeah, but also we just got a lot closer.
And we just got a lot closer. Yeah, both of those put together, it's like, why are you talking to me like I'm, like... Yeah.
Right. And then of course, because Kumiko doesn't have a lot of experience with this, she goes all out. And I love that she goes all out because it showcases her sincerity.
Yes, Hibike.
Her sound. Yes, that's wonderful. She rings true. But also her just how would I describe this? It's the cry of a child who basically knows that they're not going to get what they want by doing this. And they're not just doing it just to make noise, but they really are pleading with the older one in their circle here to be like, but please, just, no, I really, really do want this.
There is a desire to be heard.
Yes, to be heard, exactly.
And so Hibike Euphonium, right? And I love that it's basically like, it really feels like Asuka's sort of saying, I gave you all the tools to break me, the special Asuka, right? I gave you the perfect
plenty,
hammer,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I want to see you actually use it. I'm still going to make you use it. And then, of course, we've got the, all right, yeah, nope, you don't get to look up. Yeah, the head pat that is also the concealing the tears, right? Which is great.
Yeah, incline your head. Yeah, I'm a mixed bag on the amount that we got to kind of see, but I feel like if I separate myself from the story and I just try and take it all in, I do feel a little jebaited a bit, but I still love the characters because Asuka is a character that I understand, and yet it's such a maybe it's in some ways actually like a painful like look in the mirror at some of my like less likable parts.
Sure.
Because
those are the things we tend to get bothered by the most in other people.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's an aspect of Asuka that reminds me, I think, of my childhood, like my later teen years and stuff like that. Because I was fiercely independent at that time, while also like kind of closed off to other people.
Well, and let me go out on a limb here.
Yeah.
Just for a sake of comparison.
Sure.
But not to be prescriptive at all, right?
Yeah, totally.
Asuka had the parallel with Kumiko's older sister.
Kinda.
One of the big things with Kumiko's older sister, while she's very different as a person from Asuka, it was sort of the weird pressures of being the oldest. Was that ever something that you felt?
I don't think that has anything to do with this, with Asuka.
Sure, but I feel like with Asuka, it's just oldest for
She's the only child.
You're right.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's kind of the.
It's no comparison. No comparison.
Really?
Yeah, because I,
like
had
that's
amazing parents.
No. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The pressure you usually feel from being the oldest is entirely based in the parents. It has nothing to do with the kids. So
Gotcha.
Asuka's situation is entirely different. And having actually having actually spent a lot of time talking with only siblings, because for whatever reason I end up friends with a lot of kids that are only child, like they only have one.
Yeah.
And the connections that we share sometimes can be based in that area, but the difference being that there's sometimes a panic of the parents when they realize that their one child will no longer be the child, and they will lose that role as a parent. But with the oldest sibling, there's very much I am the first, I am the one that must do everything right. And I feel like that's different.
That sounds to me pretty similar, though.
No, I disagree.
I know that we had a pretty good situation with our parents, so
Yeah, I just no. It's
okay.
It's not close enough for me to like to make the comparison.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and if anything, I think the reason why I brought this up is more just because I'm like, oh, the story that I was telling earlier is very similar to what actually happened here, except it's just in that little emotion of the
Do you really
person
know what
says
other
the
people
phrase,
think?
everyone wants this instead of I want this.
Right.
Oh, that frustrates me so much. How can you say what everyone wants when I know the reason why I left was because I was making things difficult for X number of people,
Sure.
and also thus I didn't want it.
Right.
And
yeah.
that's something
Because
that
no
is-
one wants to be someone that causes trouble. Like
Well,
that's an absolute statement.
Yeah, that's an absolute statement. What I think is kind of cool about the Asuka situation is that the reason why she said she wanted to leave of I don't want to bring trouble for people is accurate, but it is not giving the context needed to what kind of trouble you're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was in a fair amount of denial of the trouble that she was actually causing people. And that's something where I feel like while there are many conversations that I would like to see between Asuka and the other characters
After
is sort of
this.
after this
Yes.
is post-resolution.
That could still happen.
And that if I was any one of the characters in this situation that was semi-close to Asuka, I would definitely need to have for the friendship to continue. I feel like the way this left off, we can kind of assume that those conversations are going to be had. We just won't necessarily see them because, the show has limited time.
Yeah,
We're going to nationals. Let's do this,
Yeah, exactly.
On to the conflict
this
with
might
Reina,
be the total resolution of things here. We have a little bit of time skip of much practice was had, much processing was had, much communication was had.
Right.
And
eventually we got back on track.
We're all back on track now and headed to nationals.
good to go, yeah.
Yeah, except for maybe the Reina situation.
Right, which I'm curious to see how that gets
Same.
resolved. Because up until now, a lot of my perspective on Reina's whole situation has been one of comedy, because it's the oh honey, right?
Oh honey.
Because who didn't have a crush on a teacher or an older person, when they were young and all that stuff. But it's like
yeah, exactly.
If you're truly going to be adult about this, then understand what it was exactly that you signed up for, because...
And then let go when it's actually time to let go.
Because that's the only way that, even if,
I
there
think
would be any possibility of something happening way down the road.
Actually is totally okay with letting go. I think you're right in that it's the why didn't you tell me? It has nothing to do with actually the fact that
it's the breach of trust, right? It's that specific
why didn't
smaller
you communicate
example.
and be honest.
Right, exactly. So Asuka will need to have those conversations and stuff, but right now Kumiko's going to need to have one of those conversations.
Right, which means that she kind of needs to do the thing that she practiced pretty well here with Asuka, but do that to Reina.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to talk to you.
I need to talk to you. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Get annoying, get demanding,
Exactly.
go to the front door of her
Right.
her house, you know.
Right. Embrace that side of yourself that Raina says is so awful and yet she loves so much.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like
yeah. That's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, y'all, thank you so much for going through this reaction and pretty hefty discussion here. So if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.